a lot of people have gotten really sad about the Gaza Flotilla being intercepted. All the ships being intercepted. We were hoping that one broke through because they turned the transponders off or whatever. And we were hoping that one made it, right? And it didn't. They all got intercepted. And a lot of people, a lot of our allies were very upset about this. There's no reason to be. This was the whole plan. Stick around for a bit and you hear this out, you're going to understand 100% why this is not a failure. This is something to be celebrated, and it's one more crack in the dam of why Israel will fall. So just hang out, and you're going to get that full info. The mistake that they've made is over and over again kidnapping, like, modern-day pirates. I won't even say arrest. Kidnapping these nonviolent resistors to a genocide, and now they've got an Irish senator from Sinn Féin they're holding. Greta Thunberg they're holding again. They're holding, like, Instagram models on, like, my wife and I called it the pretty boat, where it's like it seemed like it was the influencer boat. They're holding United States military veterans. One I'm acquainted with. Her name is Zoo. A fantastic, great person. And, like, this looks really bad now for Israel. The people who are on the flotillas already had, we'll say, air quotes, dead drop. You understand what a dead drop is? It's when, like, oh, if something happens to me, release this video.
My name is Mohammed Jamal. I'm a Kuwaiti national. If you see this video, then the Israeli army has kidnapped me from international waters.
They had dead drop. Pretty much everybody on the Gaza Flotilla, on all the ships, had dead drop social media messages like, if you're seeing this, it means I've been kidnapped by the Zionist ethno-state of Israel. I get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about what they're going through right now in an Israeli dungeon. But the point is, we're going to talk about nonviolent resistance and how there is no nonviolent resistance ever. So again, if you stick around and you watch the end of this, I'm going to talk to you about how nonviolent resistance never existed. People who talk about, hey, we're doing nonviolent resistance, it's not a thing. What we're doing is we're taking the violence of the state and we're just transferring it onto us. And hopefully people with a conscience will see and say, hey, isn't it terrible that you're doing all this violence to these nonviolent people, and then social change can happen because of that?
Well, first of all, I wanted to organize. I came on to this last minute to organize a veterans boat, and I really wanted to do that because, due to the grotesque, like, militarization of the U.S. society, we have a lot of social and cultural capital as vets. Not necessarily with politicians who just use this as rhetorical talking.
I say this so much. What he's talking about when he says social capital, as a United States Marine Corps veteran, that's a Uno reverse card that I turn in often. I use it when I talk about, why socialism works. I say the United States government already understands that socialism works. They just don't want to give it to you. Because when I was in the Marine Corps, the most socialist thing of all time, we had housing, we had food, we had a jobs program, obviously, and then whatever zip code we lived in, if we lived off base, they would just crunch the numbers and say, oh, this is how much it takes to live in this zip code. We're just going to add that money straight into your bank account every 2 weeks. It was no problem. And then also for people who are into conservative politics or whatever, it's a shield of armor that I can wear. They're like, oh, you lefty, you commie, you've never done anything. I'm like, excuse me, United States Marine Corps veteran, I know more about this ish than you do. So I need you to drink a big glass of shut the fuck up, because they can't have it both ways. They can't, like, troop worship and, like, every 5 minutes, thank you for your service. But if they disagree with your politics, shut you down. So it can't be both. Either I'm a god walking on earth and no one can question what I do because I gave up my constitutional rights to serve in the United States Marine Corps, or I'm just another guy with a job.
And it's a bad look to paint, like, Greta Thunberg, a 22-year-old activist, as, like, an existential threat to your state. It was just absolutely absurd.
But she is an existential threat. You understand? Because white supremacy plays a part in this too. So you have a young white woman. That's why Greta Thunberg makes people so angry. Because you've got a young white woman who embarrasses other white people. She shames the devil. She shames the powers that be. And that's why people like Pierce Morgan can't keep her name out of his mouth, because she embarrasses them. These are people, if people with voices, what I mean by voice, you have some kind of like motion in mainstream media or in the entertainment world or in politics, and you've remained silent about these issues, this little girl is embarrassing you. That's why they hate her so much. She is an existential threat. That's how you use your powers of when you're born with privilege. That's how when you're born with your hands on the levers of power, that's how you become a class traitor. And she's doing a masterclass at this, and she's getting all the smoke, and that's how you know she's doing the right thing when everybody hates you. All the right people hate you, I should say. When you have judge people by their enemies, she just gives off a vibe that disgusting, genociders, Zionists, capitalists don't want to be around.
Sent a ship. Obviously, the Vatican got involved, which was incredibly annoying for our messaging, because the Vatican's was like, "Hey, just drop off the aid to us in Cyprus."
Get out of here,
dude. Get out of the political equation, please. You just give it to the church.
And that's what Greg's saying right there, that he understands too. This isn't about aid. Like, this isn't about them actually. The aid is the one thing that they tried to use it, the Israeli government and then other talking heads. I'm thinking about Pierce Morgan again, talking about Greta Thunberg, they're like, oh, this is performative. They're right, but for the wrong reasons. It's getting aid to people would have been great, right? That would have been great. But that wouldn't have stopped the starvation in Gaza, the genocide in Gaza. What they're looking for is Israel to do Israel stuff and be violent. That's what they want. They want to take that state violence that Israel loves doling out in the Gaza Strip and on the rest of the Arab world and turn it on to English-speaking white people. That's why the idea of taking the aid to Cyprus and letting the church distribute it never was about that. Never. And Greg understands that. And anybody who got on that flotilla understands that. Anybody who's ever marched in a protest understands that. And we're going to get to that in this stream. So stay tuned for that. And you're going to understand why nonviolent protest is never nonviolent. You're just redirecting the violence.
Been seeing your analysis. It's been really, really excellent for several months now, and I really appreciate your contribution to the anti-imperialist struggle. I saw you just put a video out today talking about how this is a transnationalist war on the working class. This transcends borders. This is
100%. 100%. I got in an argument with a conservative guy on my YouTube, which I love that stuff. I love if you wanna fight with me in the comments, I love that. If you want to troll, I'm just gonna delete you and get out of it because you're just trying to like tie up my attention. But I was like, look, man, we're not gonna agree on a lot of social stuff, but you're really gonna need to make it make sense of why the United States takes billions of your tax dollars every single year, gives it to this colony so they can have missile defense systems, universal health care, universal college. Their roads are upkept, their bridges aren't crumbling, their infrastructure is good. While you sit here in America with me, our roads are in shambles, our infrastructure is bad, our kids can't afford college, and you don't have health care. What part of America first is that, dog? You're going to have to make it make sense. That's what we're talking about here when we're talking about a war against the working class. We had adopted nonviolence as the weapon of the strong because we realized that it was more effective than any other weapon. In fact, the mightiest force in the world we would have made use of its full potency and not discarded it as soon as the fight against the British was over, or we were in a position to wield conventional weapons. But I've already said we adopted it out of our helplessness. If we had the atom bomb, we would have used it against the British. So what he's saying is we use what was available to us. It's not that we were these great moral people. We would have the direct line, to solve a problem, the shortest distance from point A to point B is a straight line. He would have used that straight line if he could, but that straight line was not available. So all he could do was go around and try to redirect that violence. Martin Luther King Jr. also understood this.
Peter Woods from Independent Television in London.
Oh, yes.
This must be quite a moment for you, having come over the bridge where you were stopped last time.
Yes, it is a very high moment. I think a great moment in our struggle. The fact that so many people were brutalized at that very point, and today we can march by that point and continue to move means that we are making progress and that we...
See, and what happened there is like on both ends he understood. Both parties understood. Bull Connor understood how bad, because of video cameras, people got this on video, how bad the violence made the state look and himself in general. Martin Luther King Jr. crossing the bridge, just like the flotilla, was not the goal. The goal was try to draw out Bull Connor.
Thank you very much. One last thing, Dr. King. Do you expect any trouble now on this march or not? Do you think it'll go off peacefully?
Oh, I think so. I certainly hope so. There will be no violence from our side, and we hope that there will be none from anybody. We hope that this will be a peaceful, non-violent demonstration of our determination to register and vote and to end police brutality and all of the other things that we've suffered here.
At the moment, the number of...
That was a threat. That was a dare. That was a dare to say, oh, we hope it's peaceful. Like, please, the cameras are on. Please come attack us because it's going to go real wrong for you. Yeah, you're going to brutalize us. Yeah, you might kill some of us. Yeah, you'll put us in the hospital. Yeah, the people who are here, they'll be afraid. But look how many white kids are marching now. You're going to brutalize them? Go right ahead. See how that works out for you. See how that looks for you. MLK understood violence. Mahatma Gandhi understood violence, and they understood how to use it. If the government is approving your protest, it's not a protest, it's a parade. That maxim still holds true. But you need, and a protest should be, when it's not run by liberals, an implied threat. It's saying, I can amass this many people to walk across the Edmunds Pettus Bridge. Today we're just walking across the bridge. If you do something to us, tomorrow, I don't know what we'll do. I can amass this many people to just be in a space. Imagine what I could do if I wanted to go sideways. Which I don't. These nonviolence worked because you had Hindus conducting guerrilla warfare. MLK's nonviolence worked because it got to the point where it's like, look, you can either negotiate with MLK or you can deal with Malcolm X. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a nonviolent guy. I understand it because, it's the thing, like Gandhi said, we would have used the A-bomb if we had it. But I can see that there is a certain superpower in it. Can understand that there is a certain superpower here, because when you take, the barbarians say, well, we'll beat you, and you say, I don't care. We'll kill you. We'll jail you. I don't care. Well, we'll kill you then. I don't care. What else do they have? We'll torture you. I don't care. What? You've taken away their power. And they don't have anything to threaten you with. There is a certain superpower here, and maybe I'm coming around. I don't know. I don't think I could have done this, but big respect to those who did. As we all know by now, both Twitch and YouTube are suppressing left-wing content and left-wing voices. So by hitting that subscribe here on YouTube and following on Twitch, you're helping this channel push through that suppression and making it undeniable to the algorithm. Thank you so much.